Mark, and that was his C5 Corvette that he recently rebuilt. The entire engine, it's a 6-speed car, but the entire engine's built to go to like 8 grand because he road races it. And he had a clutch system, which I've been wanting to put in my car for a very long time. You've seen a lot of people, if you have a C5, who use the C6 Z06 clutch assembly from Luke, which I just discovered how to properly pronounce that too. Because I was like, Luck, or is it or is it like Luke? Turns out it's Luke. So it's a system made for a C6 Z06, and if you remember, that car with the LS7 had 505 horsepower, so better option. Bolts right up to the back of an LS1, LS6, LS2, LS3, all that family, and an LQ4 and LQ9, lots of stuff, and all the 5.3 variants. But gonna bolt that onto the back of this engine. And pretty soon it's going to be getting the engine dropped into the 2001 Torch Red Z06 I have. So let's get started. Okay, there's the entire kit I got from Mark. This is what they call a rep set. They have a basic set. If you do not have a hydraulic slave cylinder, then it'll just have the clutch pressure plate, throw out bearing maybe. But in this particular kit, since we're dealing with an LS configuration, here's your hydraulic throwout bearing. Has the fitting and everything that's going to be required to hook it up in the application it was intended to fit. So I'm not entirely sure that'll go with the setup for a C5 yet, but made for a C6 Z06. And now come out with, I'm going to have to put my phone down a second. There we have it. Got a brand new cast iron, nodular iron flywheel down under there. I'm not going to move it around a whole lot. I don't want to mess with the surface of the actual plate in there. But dig down further in here. They said there's supposed to be paperwork, and I don't see that. So that may have been misplaced somewhere. But anyway, these are spacers to go back in the corner. As you can see what we have here. If I can hold these 12 things at once, I'm going to try to lift this off here without messing with that. There we go. Yeah, there's the part number. I made sure that I looked around all these corners very closely because you can have little parts where the disc has been dropped or otherwise damaged. This was also supposed to have, well, I'm not exactly sure if it did or didn't. Ah, yeah. Almost accused him of something that wasn't right. There's where the shaft fits into the back of the engine. We're going to be driving that into the back of the crankshaft. And there's the clutch alignment tool. That'll work totally fine. Well, this will be about the easiest time to assemble it onto the back of the engine since it's out of it. The engine's out of the car, that is. So let's get in there and start hooking it up. Also, I know what you're thinking. Prius, Hummer H2, Z06 Corvette, Trans Am WS6, Mustang, another Corvette. I can't explain it. I'm doing the right thing though, building this 383. As you can see, I'm about to, hopefully for the last time, make sure each one of these bolts are at 18 foot-pounds with my torque wrench here. As soon as I do each one, I'm going to put a Sharpie black mark on each one to let myself know, and maybe people in the future, that I did do the correct torque on all those. Remember the 2 on the bottom. As soon as we get those done, we will put the flywheel on. Right about now, as soon as you get this thing lined up, go ahead and start a bolt. Get it finger tight. You'll have time to clean all this stuff in just a second. Harbor Freight run. Had to come and get an entire set of sockets for a 14 millimeter 12 point. All of my stuff's 6 point. Gave me a reason to drive the WS6 though. Like firing this thing up and raising a little hell in it now and then. Sometimes you look up and the whole clutch assembly is in place. I just came out here and it was done. Kidding. All these are at 18 pound-feet, the ones on the back cover. I cleaned the surface, the back of the crankshaft, extremely well, much as I possibly could. Then slid the the flywheel on there, and it's got a little place where there are 3 holes. There's only one way to locate it properly, so you're not going to screw that up. Anyway, get that on there and start the bolts in. ARP has their way of making sure you put the ultra torque lubricant in the right places and the thread locker in the right places. I just followed their directions. Then you clean the front surface of the flywheel, or I guess technically the rear surface, the part that's facing us. Clean that extremely well, once again. Brake parts cleaner, that kind of stuff. Once that's all clean, you can slip this clutch disc into place using this. One thing I forgot to tell you is that before I started doing any of this, I went ahead and put the pilot bearing in there. In this case, with this clutch, it is it's actually got bearings in it, so that's pretty cool. It's not just the metal one that just sticks metal in metal and you rely on grease in there, but much nicer setup. Comes with the kit from Luke, and once that fiber plate is in there, the actual clutch disc, we use this to locate it, and then this outer pressure plate assembly goes into place. There are little tabs here. See that? There'll be a little tab there. There's a tab up here, so it'll go on the right way. You're going to finger tight the bolts. Well, you don't have to do it this way, but the way I do it is I finger tight all the bolts into place, and then I go back one by one. The reason I do that, I don't want this whole thing to fall off while I'm messing with it. So then I take one loose, and I put a little bit of thread locker on there, tighten the thing back down, just finger tight. Same way all the way around. You'll notice there'll be a little bit of distance between this area right here because we're not tightening it all the way down yet. Once these are all hand tight, we'll go in and do like, let's say a half turn on each bolt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, alternating. And then we'll go back and keep doing that until everything is just about tight. Then, once it's tight, get out your torque wrench, take everything to 25 pounds, and then the second pass, I went ahead and made them 50. So, and I documented that right there. And after tightening each one and torquing, and I made a little check on each one, because these are the sort of things, if you're anything like me, you're messing with this thing over a few months. You forget what you did and how you did it, and next thing you know, you're torquing everything down 15 times. So go ahead and document that you did. But as of right now, that's all the clutch stuff that has to be in place. We still have over there the throw-out bearing and stuff, but that goes on the torque tube. We'll show you once the rest of the car is going together. I know it's a short video, but that shows you how the clutch goes onto the back of an LS1, LS6, LS2, lots of the LS and LQ and LM and L33 variants, and fits on a lot of stuff that way. But Luke is the one to go to, and the reason I chose this one, I may not have mentioned it earlier on, but Luke, if you get just a stock, if you were to go get a C6 Z06 back in the day, if you were to tear it all apart, Luke is the exact brand that was in the car from the manufacturer. So this is basically the next generation of clutch being used in this application. The quality is going to be nice. Probably never have to replace it unless you're doing crazy stuff, which I don't do that stuff, as far as you know.